Welcome to the Emotional Balance Sheet, the go-to podcast for parents with multiple kids, especially those with twins, triplets, or more, who are navigating the maze of modern family life and personal finance. Whether you're overwhelmed by education or retirement planning, parenting dilemmas, career transitions, or trying to define your purpose and plan, we're here to guide you with empathy, encouragement, and expertise. Hosted by Paul Fenner, founder of Tama Capital, a certified financial planner and parent to 4 kids, including a set of triplets, our podcast is your ally in the quest for financial peace of mind, proving that money matters, but family comes first. Subscribe now and join our community of empowered parents at tamacapital.com.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Clients of Tama may retain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast.
What does comprehensive financial planning even mean? At Tama Capital, it means a family office where lifestyle planning such as retirement, college, portfolio management, tax prep, and planning all are under one umbrella. But it goes beyond numbers. We focus as much on the emotional side of financial planning as we do on the financial side. We get you. We understand your challenges of building a family, business, or career, and a healthy life. We are devoted to wealth planning for families like yours because we are you. Learn how our family can help your family by visiting tamacapital.com.
Imagine waking up one day, taking a moment to reflect on everything you've done, only to realize that everything should have been, well, more. Not in the materialistic sense, but more in depth, more in enthusiasm, more in meaning. Now, this isn't about being greedy or trying to avoid regrets. If you read Dan Pink's latest book, The Power of Regrets, you'll understand it's not about regret avoidance. It's really more about truly understanding and defining what enough feels like for you. You can listen to a conversation I had with Dan about that topic in our show notes on how to create success for yourself. So let me come back to my main point. So how do we do this? What is the magic formula for living a life less ordinary? Here are 3 steps that articulates what I'm talking about. Number 1, expect more from yourself. This isn't about setting unrealistic standards, but more about pushing past your comfort zone by just a little bit, little incremental 1% improvements, if you will. Number 2, redefine what you think is possible for yourself. How often do we limit ourselves by our beliefs? It's time to expand those horizons. I have talked a lot over the last 3 years, written a lot over the last 8 years about Carol Dweck's work on growth versus fixed mindsets. There's a link to the show notes featuring some of her work. I find this topic incredibly important for parents trying to raise kids. And trust me, you all know by now, I've got a set of triplets plus 1. And this is something that my wife, Teresa, and I focus on all the time, or try to, having a growth versus fixed mindset. And finally, number 3, reevaluate your strategy and when necessary, change it. Life is a journey of constant learning, and sometimes that means changing directions. I would also add, it pays to be curious. Think about when you were a kid. I'm sure you were into a lot more than you are as an adult today. Here's an example of this very exercise that I try to do and revisit often. And the secret, like in most things with life or financial planning, it only takes your time and effort. So here we go. From a business and career standpoint, I always wanted to own my own company. I wanted to be important and indispensable to my client families. I wanted to be respected in the financial community and for my opinions and efforts to be appreciated. I wanted to be introduced by my client families as someone who helped change their life. From a personal standpoint, I wanted to have a loving and supportive spouse or partner, which I have today in Teresa. Be a role model for my kids. Maybe even someone who they consider cool one day, maybe not today. I wanted to live in a nice house. I wanted to have a vacation house to build memories with family and friends. And finally, I didn't want to worry about my cash flow. Most people think what I do as a financial advisor is all about numbers and money. But here's the secret. It's really not. The real value I bring is helping families determine their purpose and help lead a life less ordinary. Regardless of our professions, there's always an underlying purpose, a deeper impact we can make. It's not about the role we play, but how we play it. So the challenge I ask you today, or ask of yourself today, is, are you living a life less ordinary? Take some time to truly reflect on what more or enough looks like for you and whether you're on the right path. And remember, it's never too late to redefine, reevaluate, and expect more from yourself. So what did we learn from today? Hopefully I've given you a huge takeaway, a framework on how to unlock the elements to help transform not only your personal journey, but how that impacts other aspects of your life, such as parenting, relationships, and even your financial plan. Achieving personal fulfillment can happen at any stage of life by defining and redefining your life's purpose. That's all for this week. We'll look forward to talking to you again soon. If you've enjoyed this conversation, could you do me a favor? Do you know anyone else who would enjoy these types of conversations where we talk about the intersections of our emotional and financial lives? Because if you do, it's actually going to help both of us. Could you share this conversation with someone? They will think you're great because you just gave them this terrific podcast, and it helps me grow my audience. Or you can tell them to go to tamacapital.com. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Emotional Balance Sheet Podcast. Please visit tamacapital.com to subscribe to this podcast or to connect with certified financial planner and registered investment advisor Paul Fenner of Tama Capital. And please join us again next time on the Emotional Balance Sheet Podcast.